Hey guys, today we're going to review Unit 1, which covers 3 topics: solving equations, solving inequalities, and solving literal equations. You'll notice this review is separated into 2 columns. There's the we do side, so we are going to do all of these problems together. And then there's the I do side. I'm going to leave these for you guys to practice on your own. So let's look at the very first problem. And it says, what is the solution to the equation? And there's our equation there. So I always like to start off by doing a line where the equal sign is, just to make sure that I always keep it balanced. But our true first step of solving an equation is distribution. On the left side, there's nothing to distribute, so I'm just going to drop everything down. On the right side, I have parentheses, so that does mean I'm going to distribute, but only what's directly in front of it. So only that minus sign. So we can treat it as a -1. So what happens to this 13? It's in the front, so all we're going to do is bring it down. So bring down that 13. Now -1 times x is -x, and -1 times another -1 is +1. Our next step would be to combine like terms. On the left, there's nothing to combine since one has an x and one doesn't. On the right, the 13 and the 1 are both constant, so we're going to put those together. 13 plus 1 is 14, and I still have minus x. Next step is we always want the letters to be on the left side, so this variable is on the wrong side. I want to move it over. We do that by using inverse operations. So since it has minus right now, we're going to add. And same thing to the other side, and I'm lining it up with the one that also has x. So here, we know there's invisible 1. So -5 plus 1 is going to give me -4x. I'm going to drop down my minus 10 equals 14. And that part canceled. Next, we're going to move our constant, the 10. Again, using inverse operation. So right now it has minus, we're going to add. So let's add 10 to both sides, which leaves me with -4x equals 24. And last step is that 4 that's in front of the x. Since they're next to each other, that means they are being multiplied. The inverse would be to divide. So final answer, x is equal to -6. Okay, so let's look at another equation. It says, what is the solution to the equation? And there it is. So now we're going to solve this one. I'm going to draw a line where the equal sign is at. And first step should always be to distribute. So on the left side, that 4, let us multiply that in. So 4 times 2x gives me 8x, and 4 times 7 gives me 28. Okay, on this side, that 12 is a little too far to the front, so we're just going to drop it down. But this -2 needs to get multiplied in. -2 times 10 is -20, and -2 times another -2 makes that positive 4x. Next, we're going to combine like terms. So on the right side, the first 2 terms are constant. So -20 plus 12 would give me -8 plus 4x. On the left side, nothing combined, so I'm just going to drop all of that down. Next, this 4x is on the wrong side, so we're going to move it by using inverse operations. Right now it has a plus sign, so we're going to subtract. 8 minus 4 gives me 4x plus 28 equals -8. Let us now move that constant. So we're going to subtract 28 because we're doing the opposite. That now leaves me with 4x equals -36. And last, let's divide by 4. So our final answer is x equals -9. Okay, so those were 2 examples of solving equations. So this whole time, they both had equal signs. Now we're going to do some inequalities, which honestly are solved pretty much the same way. This one just has a few added steps. So at the end, you do have to kind of check for that symbol. Sometimes it'll stay, sometimes it'll flip. And then you also have to be able to identify what this solution would look like on a number line. Okay, so let's get started the same way as we did before. So I'm going to draw a line where that inequality symbol is. And now I'm going to look to see if there's anything that I can distribute. On the left side, I do have those parentheses there. So I know that means I can distribute, but only what's right in front of it. So that negative sign, picture that as a -1. So I'm going to bring down this 3, but let's multiply. -1 times 2x is -2x, and -1 times -7 is +7. Less than or equal to, there's no parentheses on the other side, so no distribution is needed. Next, I would look to see if I have any like terms. On the left, 3 and 7 are both constant, so 3 plus 7 is 10. Let's bring down the -2x is less than or equal to 34 minus 6x. Hey, this x is on the wrong side, so let's move it by using inverse operation. It has minus right now. Opposite of that would be to add. And I'm going to add it to the other side as well, lining it up with the variable. So this now leaves me with 10 plus 4x is less than 34, less than or equal to. Let's move the constant. So minus 10. 4x is less than or equal to 24. And then last step is to divide by 4. So here we would have x. This symbol is going to stay exactly the way it is. So less than or equal to 6. Okay, so now how do we represent this on the number line? So we know our answer is 6, so I'm going to put a circle there. Because this is or equal to, because it has that underlined, we are going to shade in, we're going to close up that circle. Okay, now, either we have to shade in the left side or the right side. One of the sides gets shaded in. Because this is less than, it's going to be the left side. Another shortcut to think about is the symbol itself points the same direction that you need to shade in. Okay, so let's look at another example of an inequality. What is the solution set here? So I'm going to draw a line down the middle where the inequality symbol is. And first thing I'm going to do is distribute. So this -3, let's multiply that in. So this would be -3x minus 6. And then this -3x, it's not in the parentheses, so we're just going to bring it down. Is less than. Other side doesn't have any parentheses, so let's just bring it down. Next, I would check to see if I can combine any like terms, which I can. The first and the last term there have x's. So together that makes -6x minus 6 less than 2x plus 18. This x is on the wrong side, so let's move that over. There's nothing in front of it, which means that it's a positive number. So we're going to do the opposite and we're going to subtract. And I'm going to do that to both sides. So now I have -8x minus 6 is less than 18. Let's add that constant to both sides. -8x is less than 24. And now we're going to divide by -8, the coefficient. So that leaves me with x. Now this time, I'm dividing by a negative number, so something special happens here. This symbol is going to flip the opposite direction. It's now going to become a greater than. And then 24 divided by -8 is -3. So on the number line, we're going to put a circle where the -3 is at. Because this is just greater than, there is no underline here, we're going to leave it open. And then we're going to shade in the right side. Remember, this symbol points in the same direction that you should color in. Okay, so those were our two inequalities. And now the last two problems are going to be literal equations. So these are equations that have more than one variable. As you can see, there's an x and a y. But in the instructions, it tells you specifically to solve for y. So I'll know that I'm done when y is all by itself. So I'm still going to do the same as I did before. Let's draw that line. Whatever you're solving for, leave it where it's at. It stays put. You want to move everything else. The coefficient, we're going to save that for the end. We really want to move the term that doesn't have the letter we need. Since there's nothing in front of it, we can assume that it's positive. So when I move it over, I need to subtract. Now let's bring down what we still have. So we still have minus 12y is equal to, then over here on this side, the bottom term has an x and the other one doesn't. So I cannot combine them. The most I can do is write them next to each other. So I'm going to write negative 2x since it had a minus sign in front of it. Then this 24, it has nothing in front of it, but that means that it's positive. So we're going to add 24. So I'm going to highlight the y. We're still not done because that y is not alone. There's this negative 12 in front of it. So I need the y to stay put, but only move that negative 12. We're going to divide. But if you do that to one side, you have to do it to everything on the other side as well. So I'll be left with y equals negative 3 over negative 12. It's a fraction, but we can simplify this further. Also, they're both negative, which means that it's going to turn this into a positive 1 over 4x. Then here, negative 24 divided by negative 12 is negative 2. So this is our final answer, and I know that I'm finished because this y is all by itself. Okay, and last one, solve the given equation. Again, we're solving for y. So I need y to be by itself. I'm going to draw a line where the equal sign is at. Okay, anytime I see parentheses, that's the first thing that I want to do. So let's distribute the negative 3. So that would give me negative 3x minus 15, where the left side still stays the same. Okay, but y, that really didn't help me get y by itself. So I need to get that 8 and move it over. We're going to do that by doing the opposite operation. So since right now it has minus, we're going to add. And that leaves me with y equals negative 3x minus 7. Now y is by itself and everything is simplified. That means that we are done and this is our final answer. Okay, and that is it for our review on Unit 1 topics. I will leave the I do side for you guys to practice on your own.